from Scarafungo la Calanga
and Carabula Shadabanga
and Serafino Sciambetti comes
and Scooby-Doo
comes a zombie. None of those people exist, but they might as well, because Italian movies technically shouldn't exist, especially of this era. Look, man, Italian movies are something special. We've discussed this before. They're and we're speaking specifically late 70s, early 80s to mid 80s Italian horror movies, really. When we say Italian movies, we don't mean the classics. Yeah. We mean this garbage.
We don't mean the classics like Harabungo Laga.
Or more importantly, Sombretto Ciondolini.
Oh,
we don't mean him.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, man. We mean, borderline trash like Zombie and House by the Cemetery and all that other crap that was coming out of Italy at the time, you know. And don't get me wrong, we love it.
Yeah.
When we say crap, we mean it's not what you would legitimately call good movie making. You know what I'm saying? It has a lot of issues, a lot of technical, production, budget, etc. issues. The acting is usually abominous when it exists, even because they would just overdub everything with horrid acting. There was a lot of things, again, a lot of hurdles they had to get across. But the fact that movies like this remain in the hearts and consciousness of fans 40, 30, etc. years after they've come out says a lot about the impression that they cause. And the impression that they cause was usually one of awe and amazement, more than often linked to something visual, you know. And don't get me wrong, there was people like Dario Argento of the time, not currently, that would make legitimate art and still have these striking images that made quite the impression.
Yeah, but he's like the fancy guy.
But the thing is about Italian cinema at the time is that they weren't out really to make original shit. They just wanted to make money, which granted, that's the industry as a whole, but they were really like, fuck it, we don't even care if we're ripping off something. We just want to cash in. So while Argento was making stuff like Deep Red and Suspiria, etc., along came other producers that were like, we're just going to exploit the popularity of this stuff and international movies and fund those and get people that are workaday, competent directors and just, have them do it.
Yeah.
Boom. Enter Zombie. In a lot of ways, Zombie had a larger impact than Argento's films for a long time because Zombie was an international success of unforeseen proportions.
Yeah. You might have heard of it by its other name, Zombie Flesh Eaters.
Yeah, if you were in the UK, you got a great ad proclaiming, Zombie Flesh Eaters! They're gonna eat you, Zombie Flesh Eaters!
That was so bad.
Yeah, man, here, it was in Italy and in some European regions, it was released as Zombie 2 because over there, Dario Argento had recut George Romero's Dawn of the Dead because he's Italian. He had to change it and added more gore to it, basically, and released it as Zombie over there. Dawn of the Dead was Zombie over there. So they just decided to cash in on the zombie craze, and they created Zombie 2, aka Zombie here to us. And, I don't even know, other than to get people in seats, I don't know how they thought they could get away with the idea that it was a sequel or even in the same timeline or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Because it has absolutely no link to it. The best you could go and say about it is, in regards to Dawn of the Dead, is maybe it's a prequel. That's if you're really pushing the limits of wanting to fit it into that idea.
Maybe it's a prequel. It doesn't explain anything.
Yeah, it still doesn't explain anything, so what the fuck? But it doesn't. It's just a cash-in. It's just a title. Underneath it all is this movie that, again, given the way things were produced back then, should have been forgotten, but it has remained at the forefront of popularity. Maybe this is Zombies. This is Fulci's most famous movie, I would say. This is definitely the one most people associate him with.
I think it's the most recognizable because
definitely, because
of that cover inside,
the poster, of course, and the catch, the tagline, "We are going to eat you," is like one of those that really stands out. But yeah, it's definitely the most recognizable. I think it's the most well-known. Although the Beyond, once Grindhouse releasing, and Tarantino, by the way, started pushing the Beyond to more modern audiences, I think people realize, whoa, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
We love Zombie and stuff, but
come on, man.
why the hell have we been ignoring the Beyond for so long? But yeah, man, it's one of those movies that stands out, and we're going to talk about it. Now, we love this movie, but it does have a lot of fucking flaws. I think overall, the biggest flaw for me would be that since it's so hastily put together, probably, post-production was equally hastily, the score done by Fabio Frizzi doesn't ever give time to breathe fully like it does when he scored stuff like The Beyond, where his selections actually get time to shine in the limelight. Here, like, the cuts are so abrupt, and the score is like just at a crescendo of coolness, and you're like, oh, what the fuck happened to the score?
Yeah, it just cuts away to another realm of existence.
And sometimes it's like a different selection of a score that doesn't match at all with the mood that was going on. Sometimes there's just silence, so that's kind of like one of the things that's always stuck out as a shortcoming of this, because Frizzi is an amazing composer, and he really creates these atmospheric feeling compositions, very synth influenced, but there's a classical, I don't know, air to them, I guess.
Yeah, it's like an organy, churchy sound to them, I guess.
Yeah. And, it seems like the one that they actually give a lot of screen time to, as far as score selections go, is the crappiest one, the tropical one, the ding, 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 ding. It's like, dude, you let that one?
I think you might be. Maybe that's the one that sticks out because that's the suckiest one. But really, it's more the because it's like in almost every.
Which I actually like that one,
but yeah, that one sticks out because you're like, really, this one?
Now I'm lingering on that because Zombie has one of the classic themes of horror cinema. It's fucking great. It's one of the coolest themes ever, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And so as for a main theme, you only get it like twice, really, in the movie.
They come at good times, though.
Yeah, it's definitely come at great times.
But
really
you could have done
out.
with less.
Yeah, I could have definitely done with that. I mean, I get it. They're in the Caribbean Isles.
But it sounds like a Mario freaking
yeah, dude, come on.
song.
Yeah, it sounds like a stage of Mario. Specifically a tropical stage. Yeah. And there's coconuts, and maybe you use them to throw at people.
Those little fish coming out.
Definitely fish coming out, and you hit them, and you're like, damn it.
Maybe it's a little shark.
Maybe some sand pits. I don't know. Yeah. But, it's not very cool.
It's
but
not
anyway.
Great.
So, yeah, that's a drawback for me. But especially in comparison to, when you see Frizzi's work, like I said, get some leg room, like in the Beyond. It's kind of like, damn it. But what's a setback for you?
The fact that they hired Marmaduke Skunkanelo. Like, that dude does not deserve to work ever.
I don't know, man. Marmaduke was a pretty cool guy.
He's pretty rad. I think one of the most impressive things is their...
I said a setback, not impressive.
Oh,
thing.
Setback?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking of Marmaduke Skunkanelo.
Yeah, he clearly achieves a lot, Marmaduke.
The entire time. Well, it's not a particularly well-written movie. It's not particularly well acted.
Yeah. Well, let's focus on the well-written thing. It has an interesting structure.
Yeah.
An elliptical structure, like a bookend, and then the center block. It kind of keeps you guessing as to why the zombie thing is going.
Yeah.
I think it very wisely avoids all out telling you why, but the hints it drops are actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because it does... This ultimately is not a viral contamination as, post George Romero we got used to zombie movies or zombie media being. Some sort of the implication of some viral contamination. It's definitely a supernaturally evoked zombie plague.
Yeah.
And but they just give you insinuations. Now, whether that's bad writing or not, I don't know, but it works for the movie very well.
Yeah, there's a couple things that contradict some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Few things, yeah.
You know, like Guillermo del Toro pointed out in the feature for this DVD. Buy it now. You know, there is a couple. You know, the guy falls in and insinuates this visually, right? But yeah, you just can't tell what it is. You know?
Yeah.
They say like it's not, the dude's been like working at it, trying to crack it, the doctor, and you can't figure it out, so you can assume that it's a supernatural thing. Either way, it doesn't matter because it helps that kind of freaky feel. Like you don't really know for sure, but there's obvious heavy insinuation that it's like this voodoo tribe or something.
Mm-hmm. Which I think honestly is like the coolest thing about it.
Yeah.
You know, this idea that there's a doctor on this island trying to figure out why all these people are getting sick, but it's just really, it paints it as his reluctance to accept superstition, and that really the superstition is really what's causing it in reality. And it's punctuated, I think, in a very subtle way as far as Fulci goes. Not a subtle man, let me tell you that. By just having the implication of that being played out orally. It's just a sound. Yeah. The sound of something coming. Really? And that something is this witch doctor, this tribe that follows him. It's never shown.
It gives you enough to just kind of come up with your own ideas. You know, like this could just be another gate of hell opening.
Yeah,
like we see in City. You know, there's enough given to you, but you're never like concretely told this is what it is.
And I think that works wonderfully because it chimes with the atmosphere that's kind of there. That being said, going back to the drawback angle, while that does come off well, you do question whether it was very intentional at all, because the writing is not spectacular. The dialogue is hammy as shit sometimes. The way it's delivered is very of the era. You know, if you watched exploitation movies of the era, that's exactly what you're getting, only dubbed now. Yeah. So it sounds 10 times more awful. Worse.
People have weird voices like, "Why is that happening?"
Yeah, it's really strange. In that
there's a scene where Fulci himself appears. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that he's not saying anything that his character is saying because he's doing very, very Italian mouth movements. You know, he's like going, "Esconcanelo," and you're like, dude, clearly you're not saying that.
What was weird about these movies is that they shot them with whatever language the person primarily spoke. Yeah. So you can, the dubbing, like you can not only tell that it's dubbed because it's awfully dubbed, but the lips are not even close to resembling movement. Like, just a little link here. Leonardo de Rossi, who did the effects for this, did the effects for a movie called High Tension from Alexandre Aja, which was a French movie. When they did the American dub, they actually did the dialogue to be loyal to what was in the script, yet match the lips. I mean, that's a lot of fucking work. Fulci and crew did not give a shit about that. Yeah. That's not to say anything about their work ethic. It's just they didn't give a crap about that. That was something that wasn't, whatever, negligible.
Yeah.
It was just the way the things were done, and it's something you either get used to, like we don't care, you know.
It adds kind of a weird charm to it, you know. Like it's so bad sometimes. Not specifically with Zombie, but in general in the genre. Movies, it's so bad that it becomes just like a funny thing, like in Burial Ground. Or it's just something that you get used to and you're like, all right, that's fine. And it does lead to some occasional interesting, more creepy moments, you know? Because there is this weird disconnect with the visual.
Yeah.
That just makes stuff feel kind of weird.
Yeah, I agree. So it's either your thing or it isn't, but it's definitely something that could be seen as a flaw because, I mean, it is. Just technically speaking, it is. Now, this movie had a very limited budget in the six figures, if memory serves me right. I don't know exactly how much, but it was definitely not $1 million movie. And they filmed this in several places, North America, the Caribbean islands, South America, etc., in a very guerrilla style. Apparently, permits were not a thing.
Yes.
So, You know, some shit is just hastily shot. But though you see that sometimes, you know, time was of the essence to them and they didn't, you know, manage to achieve a lot either because of budget issues or because of time. Sometimes you're like, damn, that's a really good shot. Like the composition in this, you could tell that they put a lot of effort into it. And I don't know if it's so much, what was the cinematographer? Sergio Salvati, I think. I don't know if it was so much, Sergio Salvati or Fulci. But some of the shots in this look really fucking nice. And there's almost like an undeniable artistic value to them.
Yeah.
Given that what you're seeing is kind of fucking trashy.
There's scenes in this that, along with, you know, the music, just bring across the idea of doom coming in.
Yeah.
You know, like when they show like these towns that are just empty, and there's this dust that seems to always be around. You know, like people always go out and it's windy and dusty, and it just has this weird kind of apocalyptic feel.
Yeah, there's like detritus on the streets. There's a singular
crab
leaking across, and then you have like one zombie.
Yeah.
Just, you know, shuffling down the middle. And this is not your traditional zombie. We'll talk about that, but, you know, this weird looking thing.
Yeah, and it's interesting because as the movie goes along, it starts off with no zombies. And there's that one lone one. And then by the end, there's like more zombies coming in.
Yeah, they steadily filter in. And it's like the movie builds and builds and builds to this ultimate conclusion, which in typical Fulci fashion is, you know, an outrageous fire and gore fest. But, yeah, I think that is done very well. It builds up exceptionally well.
They're just like these really nicely set up shots of the zombies and the towns.
These huge shots. There's even shots that are not like, you know, some shots you want to cause an impression, you know, especially with the zombies and stuff. But there's just some shots that just look gorgeous, you know. There's a shot where our main characters are just on a boat. And, you know, there's a person being backlit by the sun. And it just looks great, you know. So you could tell that definitely these people had talent. And what we know about Fulci is that that's kind of why he was hired. Fulci never found his place in movies. The irony of Fulci's career was that he was kind of a gun for hire, you know, as far as movies go. He had a very long career. And he was somebody that was dependable to create something profitable. Before his horror renaissance, he was more renowned for a streak of comedy movies that he made early in his career. That was kind of like what he was most renowned for. But after that, he was a gun for hire. Anything you threw at him, if he saw suitable to make it, he would. Westerns, action movies, cop movies, whatever the fuck you threw at him, he would make it. That's not particularly a prestigious place to be.
It's like the Brett Ratner of...
Yeah, but in Italy, it was kind of different because by that time, especially, a lot of their movies were just shit that people were churning out for money. So it's ironic that Fulci found lasting fame and notoriety both in horror, a genre that he didn't particularly like when he went into it, but he took on the job, and it started with this movie. He had already dabbled in extremism before. You know, he had made movies that kind of touched on the subject. Even in like a Western like For the Apocalypse, you know, the kills are ridiculously violent. You know, he had dabbled, but he had stayed away from it fully. And Zombie
Fulci.
Yeah. Zombie was the one where he just did it. And the weird part is, I think in a lot of ways he kind of found himself here. And it would be the next the next 3 films, 4 with this one, where he would make an indelible fucking print on horror history. It's why we still talk about Fulci today, this movie and the 3 that followed. And, you know, it's unfortunate because illness and his bizarre temperament and
his love for cake.
The way that the industry just declined in Italy led to, just when he had found himself, movies just weren't given enough money to, even less money than they already had, to be suitably called good movies anymore. And just when he found himself, that industry was taken away from him in a lot of ways. So his decline came quick after these 4 core films. But this was the start of it, man. This was a big changing moment in cinema history. Ironically, when this movie came out, the use of the title Zombie 2, as it was originally called, there led to litigation against Fulci and the producers from Dario Argento's people, because as aforementioned, Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie over there. So they tried to put the kibosh on this and take his movie away from him, basically. And that fed the kind of already there clash of minds and artistic minds that was that hatred that was boiling between Argento and Fulci. And again, on a sad note, just when they decided to put aside their differences and make a movie together, Fulci eats a fucking cake and has a diabetic death.
Homie had a cake, man. You gotta get cake every once in a while.
Yeah. So Fulci is this weird figure, man. He's kind of like this guy that never should have been, but was, and then rug pulled out from under him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, I mean, it's not to say that it's entirely a circumstance that got in the way. Fulci was also notoriously tyrannical on his sets. He was kind of like this guy that micromanaged everything and wanted everything to be at the maximum, as many people have said.
Yeah.
But the problem with that was that he was working with budgets that were so small that sometimes you couldn't demand that much out of people. But he did. Oh boy, did he!
Yeah.
And apparently, he really hated women.
Yeah, he hated women. He was, quote, a bully.
Mm-hmm.
And was just shitting on people, yelling.
Yeah, he was apparently not a very pleasant person to be around. Only one producer stayed around with him for more than one movie, so that's a thing. But yeah, man, Fulci was he cut an interesting figure, that's for sure, and he definitely made an interesting impact. Now with Zombie, of course, by this time, because of Romero, we had been used to zombies being, the Romero style zombie. So this was a return more to, like the I Walked with the zombies, or the Val Lewton era shit, but injected with his 70s, 80s visceral mentality. So let's talk about how fucking visceral this movie is.
I think the best way to describe these zombies are yaki.
Yeah, man, very distinctive looking zombies, whereas with Dawn of the Dead, with Night of the Living Dead, we got a more traditional looking zombie. Yeah. They still looked like the Val Lewton era ones, but more human.
I would call them the kind of boring looking.
Yeah, the just naked people zombie, basically. Then we had Dawn of the Dead, where we get this more colorful, yet pallid, comic booky zombie almost.
Yeah, it's a interesting look, because like even when there's the gore and stuff, it has a odd look,
Yeah,
like when people get bitten, it doesn't look real, but it's still very good look. It's good effect. Right. It's just a strange look, almost latexy look.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we get a zombie here, which, again, throwing it back to these old school zombie ideas, the more mystic zombie. But then instead of taking that look back to that, which honestly would have been boring at that point, they just came out of left field with some weird ass zombie looks. Mm-hmm. And that has a lot to do with Renato De Rossi and his clan of De Rossis. Yeah. From his wife to Gino De Rossi, etc. The Rossis, if you will.
I'm pretty Rossite.
Yeah,
by
man.
That I mean Ross from Friends.
Damn. Nobody's a Russite. But, yeah, man, Renato De Rossi had a lot to do with that. But also, I think equally important to that look was the budget. they didn't have the money to make zombies that looked like Romero zombies.
Yeah. I think, what's kind of interesting, I mean, obviously not to the perfect parallel here, but the look of them, they have this weird flaky skin look. It's very similar, at least I thought this time around, to kind of like that decaying look in Evil Dead.
Yeah,
where they just have like this grotesque, peeling look.
I love very chunky, very ashy, flaky almost. And it's good that you bring up Evil Dead because Evil Dead used a lot of clay, claymation, etc. And it kind of evokes that, which is very suitable given that clay was the primary way that they made these zombies work. Clay allowing them to mold off the cuff and on the fly and just kind of play with what they had. It gave that, it granted them that ashy white look, which is very distinctive. And it allowed them to deform the features in just about any way they wanted without ever looking too medical.
Yeah, I mean,
this is no Day of the Dead. It's outlandish, weird looking zombies.
Yeah, you're still working with, human skin and proportion. You're just covering it with clay.
Yeah, you're layering on clay and then molding something, so it's kind of like this distorted and deformed human canvas,
It's also kind of weird that like almost all the zombies in this wear like the same clothes. They have this kind of like burlap sack suit.
Yeah.
Which just kind of, again, it gives that weird look.
Yeah, and that's a combination of the fact that this takes place in the Caribbean island and that a lot of the zombies are literally being spit out of graves. In fact, you know what? That's the best way to describe these zombies. They look like something that's been spit out of a grave. Chewed on maybe a little bit, and then just, there you go. Here's this thing that's walking around now.
Yeah. Halayaki.
Yeah. Very interesting effects, man. And it's kind of fascinating to find out that, how they did it. It just literally, let's just do this on the fly. Every day we do this. And granted, they do that with all makeup effects that are physical. Every day you have to get there, get these applications done. But clay, clay, very malleable, very, how do you replicate certain things?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it kind of seems like they would just have to get all those scenes with that particular effect in that day. Like, there's no going back. How are you going to replicate it with clay?
And
on set, especially because they were just doing them.
Right, and they would have to at times do, tens of them just on request. Oh, I think the most glaring example is this movie has one of the most memorable end shots in horror cinema, and it literally has, I don't know, what, 30, 40, 50 maybe.
It was a lot of people.
Maybe a lot, maybe close to 100 people.
The effect guy said anywhere from 60 to 80 or 70 or something like that. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, plenty of people ambling towards New York across the Brooklyn Bridge, and they literally had 20 minutes to prepare them all.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 get out there. So clay allowed them to work with time constraints. And it allowed them to be flexible.
Yeah.
Whether they wanted to focus a lot on the look of the creature, 2 to 4 hours, or just off the cuff, boom, 10, 20 minutes, let's get. So that very cool and very indicative of the ingenuity of Italian filmmakers in the genre at the time because they had to do so much with so little. Very cool to find that out. And yes, just zombies that stand out. This zombie look would in some ways continue into Fulci's next 3 films. Sometimes to the absolute left field, like in House of the Cemetery, where the core zombie, if you will, Dr. Friedstein, just weird looking thing. Like, what is that thing?
Was that even human?
Yeah, like a really disturbing looking thing, but it's a zombie. And then the more I don't know, decayed and then rotten looking, weird, surrealistic zombies of the Beyond but they all kind of latched onto something that was established here. So very cool. Gennaro Rossi, of course, went on to still have a career in makeup effects, and it was. I remember the first time when I saw High Tension, I was like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?"
He's alive.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a cool moment. But yeah, give me something about the movie, man. Anything you can think of that you might want to get out there. Let me know.
It is one of those very movies that stick in your head. Like I hadn't seen this in forever, So whenever the first DVD came out on Anchor Bay, I think it was an Anchor Bay one at least. Maybe
I think so.
That's when I saw it. And I hadn't seen it in a long time, and even when it started, I was like, man, it's been a long time. I can hardly remember it. But once the certain scenes and the images come up, and you're like, oh shit, I totally remember that. Because it goes back to what we said. Like there's some really nice shots. There's some surprisingly well put together shots. Like that first the scene with this grody ass zombie with a big ass nose, and the camera's going around him. I'm like, damn, homie, for someone that didn't give a shit, that's some good ass looking shit. Of course, this has one of the most memorable scenes of zombie versus shark.
Yes.
They just threw a shark at a dude.
It goes without saying that Italian productions being so, haphazardly put together, took a lot of risks. Yeah. Again, we go back to the idea that they didn't even bother to get permits.
Nope.
Let's just shoot this fucking thing. In New York, the most notorious place to get a permit because it costs $1 gazillion, and they will arrest you.
Yeah.
But I think the weirdest thing, as far as, even if you don't like horror, the thing that stands out the most is that there is in fact a fucking shark in this movie, like a real shark. A fucking shark, dude. It's a shark. It's not an effect shark.
Nah, it's a real shark.
It's a real shark they drew.
He looks like he has no teeth, but really they're just kind of small little teeth.
Yeah, it's a fucking shark.
It's a real shark, yeah.
It's a bigger than the human shark that's brought into a scene with actors. By the way, the actress that was in that scene almost drowned during that scene. I don't remember if she couldn't swim. Whatever the case, Fulci didn't care because, as aforementioned, he didn't give a shit about women, apparently. But she nearly drowned.
There's a scene where she, her little mouthpiece falls off, and she's, kind of scrambling to get it back, and she just gets it in. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
I don't know, but what is known is that she almost fucking drowned. So she was in danger for damn sure. Yeah. I'm almost sure she didn't know how to swim.
And there's a freaking shark swimming around.
Yes, and there's a shark. So here's the thing. They apparently drew the shark in. They waited 2-3 days baiting the shark. And it's unclear from what was said, but it's insinuated, I should say, that they may have drugged the bait.
Yeah, the dude said that they made the shark go around the boat.
Until they tired him out.
He got tired.
But by the time he's talking about the shark actually fighting, that's right, fighting a zombie, he's talking about the shark being asleep.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, it's insinuated that they may have drugged the bait. But whatever the case, if they didn't drug the bait, they still got a shark to get there, swim around until they assumed that it was tired.
Yeah.
And then it was still swimming around people that were not trained to be underwater.
Yeah, and it's not even just the actress and the zombie. It's, the crew's down there, I'm assuming. The camera guy, at least.
So we got people literally in front of a fucking shark that's not too happy. Then, of course, the actress, the guy that fights the shark is a stunt coordinator.
Yeah,
and a shark guy.
Yeah,
He's a shark guy. So at least,
shark.
Yeah, at least, we have some comfort there. But the girl was not, on top of drowning. So she's in danger. Then finally the zombie comes out of nowhere. A very scary thought if you think about it, but Fulci always managed to make scary thoughts, at least in this movie, kind of go so far that they kind of become inadvertently unscary because they're so over the top. But here we have this undead shambling thing under the waters managing to shuffle about because he's dead, and then all of a sudden he's fucking fighting a shark and he's biting a shark and he's kind of. It almost seems like the shark's like, dude, can I just leave?
There's a scene where the shark's like trying to fly away. It's right, fly, because sharks fly now. Underwater fly. He's trying to swim away, and the dude just grabs his fins and is like shoving himself up. And you're like, out!
But it's cool looking. You know?
It's cool, and it's like shockingly clear. You know, like when the chick is swimming up to the boat, you can see scragglies in the camera, and you can obviously tell that there were some limitations there with the underwater camera.
Right.
But when the actual like meat of it comes, it's super clear and it looks really nice, like the colors and shit.
Yeah, and it has almost like a surreal, not just because you're watching a fucking zombie versus a shark scene that's taking place in front of you, literally, but it has a surreal quality in the way it looks. Now, upon watching the features, we found out that that's because the clay makeup was leaking out. They would put latex over it to contain it in the water. Yeah. So here we have this shark guy, / stunt coordinator, trying to get away from the shark, which is now kind of like, dude, what are you doing? Stop prodding at me. And it emits this clay haze, which gives him the kind of like this Halo-esque look around, like a it almost looks like he has like a weird spotlight on him, and it really creates this unique look, man. It's a really, like you say, the clearness of the shot is astonishing. The fact that there's a fucking person fighting a shark.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I mean, the scene's pretty long, and I'm sure there was bits where that dude had to get air and shit. I'm sure there was one thing. Yeah, it's Italian cinema. Probably not.
Yeah, they're probably just like whatever.
But this homie like never breaks face. I never, at least that I can remember, I never saw an air bubble come out of his mouth or nose.
Yeah.
Like how?
Yeah, I mean, Italian cinema, and he's Mexican, so they were like just extra or whatever. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'll do it.
He was already down there and leaning against his saguaro on the coral saguaro down there, and they're like, dude, you want to do this? And he's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I got time.
But yeah, it's kind of an impressive scene, and one that you're like, man, this is a thing they did. And knowing that the lack of care for safety and everything just makes you go, wow!
Yeah, this is a thing. This is a scene that could literally only happen at this time in this particular industry. So it stands out, not only because, again, and I repeat this for the umpteenth millionth time, it's a fucking zombie versus a shark. For real, not CGI. It's literally a man in a zombie fucking suit fighting a real damn shark. That's mind-boggling as it is, but, just you put all the factors into play, it stands out quite a fucking damn bit.
Yep.
Now, you could say, that's trashy. Obviously, it's going to stand out. Obviously, people are going to want to see. Who wouldn't want to see a zombie versus a shark, as ridiculous as it is? Yes, but there's also parts in this movie where you're like, I wonder what Fulci could have done if he had more money and more time to dedicate to perfecting his craft. Now, we kind of got an answer to that in The Beyond, which is the closest to a masterpiece. His masterpiece for sure. But in terms of the scope of all horror cinema, I think that's the closest we can say he created a masterpiece, even though it itself has flaws. But, yeah, man, there's scenes in this that show touches of his technical genius at the very least. Whereas, again, it has a lot of pitfalls. These little things that stick out, it's almost like you feel validated in watching such trashy exploitative material, because it shows you that, man, this guy actually had talent. And I think the best representation of that is the infamous, that's right, this scene takes second place in terms of infamy beyond the fucking zombie versus a shark scene, because how can you beat a zombie versus a shark scene? It's the infamous splinter to the eye scene. Now, Fulci, if you've seen his movies, especially his horror movies, had an obsession with eyes.
Yeah.
He communicates a lot with eyes. And close-ups, extreme close-ups of eyes. And harming the eye is like one of his biggest things.
Yeah.
And Zombie was the genesis of that, maybe. I can't think of an earlier example, but maybe there is. Most likely there is, knowing Fulci. But yeah, here we have a scene where a zombie literally impales a woman onto a splinter through her eye.
Yeah, and I think it's something that's throughout the movie, like this kind of slow build to something.
Yeah.
Like it's not realistic in any way. Like this zombie's grabbing this chick and going like this, but he's very stiff, like his arms in the same pose. There's no real struggle. It's just like this very slow inevitability that is throughout the movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's exactly why I cite this particular scene, because this scene encapsulates what I think he was trying to do throughout the whole movie. Only here he succeeds, I think, the most glaringly. This scene is very well executed. It's almost like, I don't know, 8 minutes, maybe even more. I don't know. Yeah. It's a long scene, and it starts from the first moment you see, not the first moment, but once it cuts to the scene, you see a woman in a shower. Again, you think this is a scene we're talking about a fucking splinter going through an eye, and it starts with a woman naked in a shower. Very exploitative material, yes, but we got a woman in a shower, and she gets out of the shower. Then she hears a sound. Then she investigates it. Then she tries to close the door, but it doesn't close. And then we see this sliver of light sneaking in through the door. And then there's a hand at the door, and she, shuts the door on it. It builds up, and it's edited and cobbled together so well that even though, like you say, there's this air of inevitability, once you get there, you're like almost relieved that it happened, which is like weird because you're literally watching a fucking splinter go through an eye, very graphically, no less. But it's so well executed, and it just shows that Fulci, given time, given the proper means or whatever, could have achieved a lot more than he did in his career, because it's very well structured. It's very well structured.
Interestingly enough, it's like a weird parallel for the whole movie that I'm sure was not intended in any way, shape, or form of an eye, because that little scene is kind of structured like the movie. Like there's this inevitable thing that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But it's going to be the slow build-up with little things happening, little things put in the way of the inevitable thing, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And then you get that big payoff.
And then you don't know if that's because of Fulci or because of the screenwriters. It is notable to say that Fulci didn't change the script. So either Fulci was too lazy to change the script or didn't have enough time to change the script.
Stumbled across something.
He was like, this is legitimately good.
Yeah.
And, we don't know either way. I suspect we never will, as he is dead, and he would probably lie anyway. Yep. But the point is, it works. Like you say, it works as a parallel comparison to the overall structure of the film. It does. I hope that it's intentional. I would like to think that it's intentional, but knowing Fulci's career, it probably wasn't. Now, Guillermo del Toro brought up something interesting about the introduction to this film, which opens in New York, where we get the first signs of the zombie contagion that we later see on the island when we go investigate there. He drew a comparison to Nosferatu, Graf Orlok coming, with the plague leaking onto the city. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I never thought of that, but yeah, if that was intentional, absolute genius. And if it wasn't, he stumbled onto something great. It taps into something almost like, I want to say primitive, but really it's ingrained into popular culture so much that you don't even have to see Nosferatu to know what that scene implies. So much so that, I didn't even catch that until he mentioned it. I was like, oh, holy shit, you're right.
He mentioned that, and he also mentioned the fact that the fat guy falls in the water. And
fat zombie.
That could be like the start of the thing.
Right.
If we're going with the viral thing. Of course, they also lay the seed of the cop early on. He's in the morgue and the little hand moves and shit. So,
yeah. And I would say that that's actually a problem with the movie, that you never know how the zombie... but thing I think goes from person to person.
That's kind of an interesting thing too, because they give you two options basically.
They do. However, I do think that was one of those flaws that they didn't think out. I think that's an unintentional vagueness that works, mind you, in the movie works. But I think it's an unintentional vagueness because it's implied that the bite will turn you, but at the same time, it's a supernatural thing. But at the same time, it's a viral. You know, like it's all over the place. But you don't feel that it's a methodical all over the place.
Yeah.
I think the intention was supernatural.
I do think that
overall, but
I do think that it helps because it does give that weird chaotic feel, or you just don't really know.
Yeah. So anyway, we have Mia Farrow's sister is in this. That's weird. Mia Farrow, of course, at the time was doing fucking like Rosemary's Baby and shit, media classic, and so I guess Tissa was like, yeah, I gotta do something, right? Let's go to Italy, guys, and make this weird ass zombie movie. But hey, man, fuck it. I mean, I guess give her some form of immortality, right? But anyway, it's just such a weird cast. I mean, basically people that you'll never ever really pay attention to any other time but this, unless you're into some really specific film scenes. But what do you think of the cast, man? Do they work? Do they not work for you?
It's
again, given that their dialogue is dubbed, basically.
Yeah, I think taking that fact into account, that they're pretty good. You know, like some don't have much to do, like Poodle Hair.
Poodle Hair's cannon fodder. Yeah, definitely.
Pretty much cannon fodder. The guy that has the weird voice now. I don't remember his name. the guy with the red hair. He's a little more useful, but he's also kind of cannon foddery. You know, like given that, I think they do a pretty good job, and just taking the freaking performance, because really that's all you can do. The visual performance, I think they do pretty good. I think the freaking doctor is pretty cool.
Yeah, he would probably be the best.
He's probably the best one. Yeah. You know, they're good for what it is, an Italian movie.
Yeah. Now, this is a 4K restoration of the picture. I gotta say, stunning restoration. It's the best it's ever looked. I'd hope so with a 4K restoration. But if you don't manage to get this one, the previous release from Blue Underground is also really good. That's kind of like their calling card, which, you know, not a lot of people do that. They're like, we're going to hold out on that cool-ass looking version until later. But so if you're interested in that, check that. But this would be the way to go if you want to get all these extra features, plus the soundtrack on there. Pretty cool, man. Look, Zombie is, whether you hate it or not, and the British for a while, this was on the Video Nasties list, which, by the way, Video Nasties, gayest name for a, and we don't mean cool gay, we mean like lame.
Hella corn. Trademark.
But thankfully, now you can watch this in Britain too, if you're inclined to do so. And if anything, being put on a list like that almost guarantees people are going to watch you. So
yeah, it's like the Evil Dead thing. Everybody's like, yeah, I gotta see that now.
Do you believe Zombie should be held in the company of the greats of zombie cinema, or not?
When we think of the greats of zombie cinema, think of like Romero.
We're talking, gotta have the 3 Romero classics. We're talking The Living Dead in Manchester Morgue, shit like that.
I think it's kind of its own thing,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're gonna watch like the Romero movies and then watch this right after, it doesn't feel like it belongs in the same genre.
But should it be in the pantheon?
I think
of
so.
Zombie flicks?
I mean, I do think that it's not the best one. Like Beyond is better, but you should definitely see it.
I'd argue that the Beyond is not a zombie film. It just happens to have zombies in it.
Yeah, but there's zombies.
Yeah. But
I feel like any movie that is cool and has zombies in it and is called Zombie, you kind of have to have the panth.
I think it should be in that pantheon, and then in that good company, solely because it's an absolutely unimitated movie.
Yeah.
Everybody's copied Romero by now. Sometimes for the best. We have like Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland, etc. Sometimes for the worst, and there's a lot of those. But how many people have copied Fulci successfully? Not many have copied him to begin with, and those that have,
Burial Ground,
they didn't really do a good job at it. They didn't capture the strange air of Fulci. And definitely in terms of zombie cinema, nobody has really gone down this route ever since Romero.
It's a very unique, dreamy feeling movies that he'd made, the zombie ones at least. You know, they just don't feel like they're part of this earth.
Yeah, another world. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Otherworldly. So yeah, it stands out on its own, just like the Val Lewton zombie movies would against, fucking Romero movies. Or if you're gonna count something like Return of the Living Dead, of the Evil Dead. I'm sorry, or what were they called? The fucking Blind Dead movies. The time that was the second Blind Dead movie. If you're gonna compare them to that, those are zombie movies, but they're so fucking different. They're so different. So that deserves Return of the Evil Dead, aka Tombs of the Blind Dead 2, should be there in that pantheon too.
Yeah, I think that this is like
this should too because of that reason.
I think it's a good representation for that kind of weird zombie.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And while something like the Tombs of the Blind Dead movies, most notably the first two, would fall more into the EC category, I say that because Del Toro described this as somewhat EC-esque. Romero's definitely would not. This is kind of like a weird middle ground. It's neither this nor that. It's very much its own. It's a Fulci movie. Yeah. And that's why Fulci lives, baby.
Fulci. I like how every time we talk about Fulci, you don't wear your Fulci shirt.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing to not wear it at the appropriate times. Anyway, let's give a final thought and score to this picture. Give it to me.
I think if you're a horror fan, you should see it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, I kind of get it, but at the same time, eat a dick. It's not gonna be for everyone because there is hurdles to get through, and it is a very kind of, I don't want to say slow, but it's a very paced movie. In the way it shows its scares and shit like that, and builds up things. It does feel a little dumb, but that's only because it's so simple,
Yeah.
But it does have a very interesting feel overall. It is very atmospheric and unique.
Yeah.
Also, Shark versus Zombie. So yeah, I'll give it like a. I mean, obviously, compared to others, I'll give it like a. I'll give it an 8 because I know it gets better.
Yeah, like you said, this is a requisite if you're a horror fan. You have to at least try Fulci. It might not be for you, and totally understandable, but it is kind of like a rite of passage. You have to try Fulci. You have to try Argento. You have to try Miike. You have to try certain, artists in the genre and see if they're for you. If Fulci is for you, and like you say, it's going to take some hopping hurdles, bad dubbing, weird Italian production, tropes and trappings. It's going to take something, but at the end of the day, if Fulci's worth something to you, then he's going to be worth a lot to you. And that's more than you can say for your generic standard American filmmaker or whatever, some of them don't stand out, They might make a good movie, but they never are remembered again. The movie might be remembered, but with Fulci, he's remembered. And it's just because of 4 movies, basically.
Yeah.
And to some lesser extent, some of the other ones, but really the core 4 movies of Fulci are, and that says something. That says that there's something there that taps into something in people, in viewers' minds. So for me, Fulci, despite his flaws, he's a big deal, But I can't fairly give this movie more than 7. I can't. I feel like I'm giving it too much with 7 because it is a very flawed movie.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at it as a film, there is a lot of failings there.
Yeah, and even then I'm just talking in terms of its contemporaries.
Yeah.
And it's ilk, I can't give this the same score as I would a Dawn of the Dead or whatever. That being said, just because I'm giving it a lower score doesn't mean, in this occasion, that I don't think it's as important in those movies. It just so happens that there's a lot of trappings to this particular era and industry. Italian cinema of the time was a fucking weird shit. industry. It was, you know, it's a miracle this fucking movie even was made, really. But from a horror fan's perspective, yeah, I can bump that score up easily. I don't know to what, but easily. You know, suffice it to say that if you love Fulci, you're going to love this movie. And I love Fulci. And I'm okay with giving it a 7, knowing that as a fan, I would give it more. Because Fulci provides a particular type of entertainment that no other person could provide. So that is more valuable to me than a number score in comparison to its ilk. So that is what it is. Take it for what it is. If you've seen this movie, let us know what you think about it. If you haven't, do check it out. Please. In the meantime, hit like, share, subscribe, and those notification buttons, because